I have very little doubt, for example, that the 2 attempts on my life in the last 2 years were because of my involvement in the campaign for the Magnitsky Act.
So let's talk about that. What occurred?
Well, not my favorite subject for conversation, as you can imagine, but basically twice in the last 2 years. First time in May of 2015 and the second time in February of this year, 2017, both times in Moscow. I suddenly began experiencing symptoms of very severe poisoning that led to a multiple organ failure within a few hours and left me in a coma and on life support. And there's no doubt that this was intended to kill. Doctors told my wife on both occasions that the chance to survive was around 5%. So I'm very happy and very grateful to be sitting here and to be talking with you today. I have no doubt that this was motivated by my political activities in the Russian democratic opposition, and again, I think more specifically, my involvement in the campaign for these Magnitsky-type individual personal sanctions against human rights abuses in the Putin regime.
2 times you were poisoned, and this is a common, this is what Putin does regularly, or he finds a way to do it. Let's discuss this. How often is he out there assassinating, poisoning, imprisoning?
Well, of course, it's not just him. I mean, his organization, the KGB, has had decades of experience in this. I mean, one thing they really do know how to do is to poison people. They've had this lab since the end of the 1930s, a poisons lab. And of course, we know of the famous, or I should say infamous cases. For example, back in the 70s, prominent Bulgarian anti-communist dissident Georgy Markov was killed in London, on a bridge in London, with a poisoned umbrella containing ricin that was passed to the Bulgarian Secret Service by the KGB. Of course, we all know about the Litvinenko case, Alexander Litvinenko, whom I knew well personally. He was a former KGB officer himself, but he defected to Great Britain. He lived in London. He was actually a British citizen at the time when they killed him. He was poisoned by a radioactive substance, polonium, in 2006. And a subsequent official British public inquiry came to the conclusion that this was likely done at Putin's personal order and carried out by Russian secret services. So this is not me speaking. This is the official British public inquiry. And of course, if they can poison people in London, it's not too difficult for them to do it in Moscow.